Wheeljack. This man can't get his due. He's probably one of the most important characters in the 80s cartoon. But whenever it comes to the live action films, he is shafted as hell. This video will be exploring all the movie versions of Wheeljack and their different names. But here's the first disclaimer. Credit to Hasbro, the TF Wiki, and Paramount Pictures for the visuals and the music used in this video. Also, there will be some fan art that will encapsulate my version or help build on my own version of a Wheeljack design I will talk about at the end of the video. So stay tuned for that. So you're probably just like, who's Wheeljack? There may be some of you who are like, oh, this is a new video in my feed, so who's Wheeljack? So I have some notes on who Wheeljack is. Wheeljack is the mad scientist, the tinkerer of the Autobots. He's built many gadgets. He's made the Dinobots. He's made the Immobilizer. He's made Dominator discs, if I believe so. He's done a lot. He's helped a lot and done a lot for himself and for the other Autobots. He has a close friendship with Ratchet, the medical officer. These two are seen a lot together, mostly while building the Dinobots or just trying to figure out how to repair Optimus Prime in some episodes. And then later in the movie, he is dead. He's just a dead corpse right next to Windcharger after RC moves Windcharger's corpse. So Wheeljack didn't even get his due in the movie, so that's a trend. This man can't get his due. He is a staple. He is a fan favorite of many kids from the 80s. And guess what? The first version is probably the most closest character-wise to Wheeljack than every other version in the movies. I'll explain that more in Q's segment. Oh wait, here we are. We're in Q's segment, man. This Albert Einstein looking head ass is cool. He's blue. He's a blue cop. I forgot to search up what cop, but it's on screen right now. But the name in italicized font, I don't know. He is blue. He's a blue hair old man, which that's funny. His face, it's okay. It's fine. It's Albert Einstein. It's fine. It's a scientist. I don't really care about the head on this one. But he has made the grapple gloves, the boomsticks, and the heavy iron 2.0 and the 1.0. I don't know why I said that 1.0 and 2.0 in reverse. But anyway, the boomsticks and the grapple gloves are really useful. The guns aren't, but that's a tinker. He's probably the most authentic Wheeljack without being called Wheeljack. And I'll get into that right now. Wait, Wheeljack, you said this version is Q. Well, you're not wrong. The real reason Michael Bay thought, as a homage to the James Bond character of Q, who makes the gadgets, he just named him Q instead of Wheeljack, which that's a good parallel. They make the same stuff, the same gadgets, so I can't really argue with that. I love this characterization. Taking the James Bond character and mixing it with Wheeljack makes him the perfect tinker. He is the most closest version I've seen yet to the G1 version. But you're probably going to be like, why does he not have the classic head fins? Well, he did, but he lost them. So, switching over to my other paper notes. In the comics, I don't remember if it was the IDW. I think it's the IDW or the Titanfall comics. But he did have the head fins on Cybertron. And it looks great. It's the most G1 looking head or character model in the comics. That's perfect. But Shockwave had to ruin that when he started murdering tons of the comic Autobots. Shockwave, I might make a video on him about him being overrated in the movies and overpowered in the comics. But Shockwave kills tons of Autobots. He, well, I'm not really going to say he spares Wheeljack and Mirage. Yes, Mirage is also in the movies, but there's a different name for him as well. So, yeah, I might make a video on Mirage, aka called potentially the best character redemption in the movies, which it might do well if this does well. So after the battle, Wheeljack and Mirage were in critical condition, and Ratchet, I'm pretty sure, had to repair them, and they altered their forms and they changed their names to Q and Dino. That's okay. It's fine. They basically got upgrades anyway, so I can see why they would change their names. But in the movies, the actual end of Wheeljack, or Q, is brutal. This old man was killed in cold energon. He was begging for his life, essentially. He said, "We surrender. They'll be your prisoners," or something along those lines, about the prisoner's line. And guess what? Barricade, with Soundwave's voice, for some reason, straight up points him and pushes him, and a Proform shoots him in the chest. He falls with tons of parts falling down. He doesn't even have his classic stuff anymore, like satchel on his arm, or satchel on his abdomen, which, that's cool. But the satchel on his arm, abdomen, I don't know why I'm saying arm. But while he's looking at his hands and looking at the ground while he's knelt down, Barricade shoots him in the back, and with the force of him falling forward after getting shot, his head pops off and his eyes fade black, which, that is brutal. That's very, very brutal. Oh look, 8 minutes in, and we're on to the best looking Wheeljack from the Bumblebee movie. So finally, this is the perfect looking version of Wheeljack. Keep word looking. I'm gonna rip this guy a new asshole. This guy gets one line in a cameo, a role, as a last minute addition to the Bumblebee movie. I'm sorry if I'm gonna rip on him too hard preemptively, but this version of Wheeljack looks good, but we cannot assume he's going to be the same character, because looks and how people act are very different. So this might be like a little bit of foreshadowing, or me telling, oh, just don't trust it, because yes, it looks pretty good. The reason I'm making this video is because I got the Studio Series version. I'm like, wow, this looks pretty good. But we don't know what he acts like. We don't know if he's the same exact character that he was in G1. But ultimately, this is a great start. This is a great start to have a new audience know who Wheeljack is by name and look. But they can learn who he is as the movies go on. It's a fresh old start with a new and old audience. I messed up that line. I don't care. But Pablo segment. Character, looks, voice. None here. He didn't have character anyway, so I'll allow that one. But I can't excuse the voice and the look going away. Like, you had the perfect look beforehand. I'm going off script, but it's completely gone. It's frustrating because we had a perfect design before. It was just changed for no reason. Because now he looks like this Steve Urkel 80s nerd-looking head ass was chosen as the final design. This is awful in my opinion. Like, you got a perfect design with the Bumblebee movie, and you just go to this. Plus, he had basically no character besides a penchant of a love for butterflies or some animals, and a Spanish voice, which I'm going back on the animals. He could have been Beachcomber. That hippie. He could have been a hippie instead of a nerd. Because him being a nerd impacts nothing in the movie. Okay, I'm not going harsh enough. This is not Wheeljack at all. And it's nothing like him. Nothing how he looked before in the previous movie. Maybe like, oh, the characters changed their designs in the films, in between films. That's true. But RC and Optimus look like a natural transition between their Cybertronian and Earth forms. But Wheeljack is nothing like he looked at in Bumblebee. Like, you also may be like, oh, the oat form was the reason that changed. You're kind of right. Prime looks like Bumblebee movie. Prime, but without the blue he has on his hands and his abdomen, he's just missing a lot of the blue color. In RC, she just got shorter and has pigtails with her motorcycle handlebars. Like, she got shorter and slimmer and smaller. Well, I'm just saying the same thing at this point, but like her eyes got bigger for some reason, but she just got smaller. Like, her basic look stayed the same. So like, my nose full. But this is not the same for Pablo's van. Because the robot design, well, the vehicle mode that he chose is fine. Like, that's perfect for a Wheeljack. But there was concept art for a better looking Wheeljack that was more faithful to the G1 design. Yeah, like, from the concept art, they were basing off the Bumblebee movie head and the G1 head. And yeah, the van fits perfectly. It's somewhere people tinker sometimes in that van. It's a perfect disguise. I'd rather have him be a van than a white sports car that, actually no, a white race car that has sponsor logos. I'd rather have a white and brown van with TV sponsored, like a TV sponsor van as his own. And like, this isn't Wheeljack to me. This is Pablo. Pablo because of the name on the truck, or technically van. But yeah, and I'm not even going to talk about the ear fins that were in the trailer spots in a split second of the film. The ear fins, you could just have them from the beginning. Why did you not have them at all? Like, why add them to make the fans shut up? That's not. You guys had an entire year to update this film, and you guys took a lot of stuff out that needed to be in there. Like, I would have loved to see the RC and Wheeljack romance that got cut, because it gives them both character moments. It makes them more compelling to the audience. I do dislike a lot from these versions of Wheeljack, but if you put the Tinkerer together, the Inventor from Q, add the look and voice from Bumblebee, and add the colors and the ult mode, boom, you got the perfect Wheeljack. The perfect merging of Wheeljack. And I hope at least in a new movie, if it's a Rise of the Beast sequel, or in Transformers 1, they make him Wheeljack. Because either then you just need to write him off, kill him off, or just not even show him at all. Because, like, if it's a Rise of Beast sequel, I got less faith in having Wheeljack even be in those. But you've heard me talk for almost 16 minutes straight, so this is my guest, Zackworldsproductions. This is Zach's segment, so this is his opinions on the movie versions of Wheeljack.
Thank you, Hotlink. Never fear, your boy Zach is here. What's up, guys? Zach's World Productions here, and I'm here to drop my 2 cents on the whole Wheeljack situation. And real quick, I'm not gonna really discuss Bumblebee movie Wheeljack, because he was like in the movie for like a half a second, and he just had one line. So he was just there for a second, had one line, and that's just about it. That's all we see from him. But his design is perfect. But with that being said, this ain't about that right now. We have bigger fish to fry. And for starters, let's just start off with Dark of the Moon. Now with Q, although his design does look a bit wacky, he has the Albert Einstein look and everything. I get it, because he's smart or whatever. I kind of think of Q and Wheeljack as 2 different characters. However, you can kind of see some Wheeljack-like characteristics from Q. Again, he sounds like an intelligent Autobot. He has, he made weapons for Ironhide and the other Autobots. The Heavy Iron 2.0, the Heavy Iron. He made some mech tech. He even gave the humans some gadgets that Sam ended up using to take down Starscream. Things like that. So you could kind of see the characteristics of Q, and he was actually a pretty well written character, and he wasn't just in the movie for woke, exposition. Pablo. But anyway, we will get into that later. But Q actually made some contributions to the film. He was actually, even though, like say, we didn't really get a chance to see him do anything as far as action is concerned. I would have liked to see it, but he at least was a contributing factor to the Autobots winning the Battle of Chicago. But like say, he was at least in the movie and served a pretty good purpose, I would say. So now we're gonna get to Pablo. Alright, there's a lot to unpack here, like literally and figuratively. So, well, I know people were shocked to see his design from the mainline Rise of the Beast figure, but that's not where it began for me. It all began when he was even announced to be that minivan. Like, once that minivan was announced to be Wheeljack, because out of all the characters in G1 that were vans, that were minivans, there was Ironhide, there was Ratchet. You mean to tell me neither one of them could have been that van? And I get it. It's pretty consistent with this universe because obviously Mirage has Jazz's vehicle mode. Blitzwing looks like Starscream. I get it. Although it's 2 different directors, but still, I get it. At least they're keeping that consistent, but nonetheless, back to the main point. So now we fast forward. All right, at least it's like whatever, he's a van. It's like, all right, cool. At least he'll probably look like he did in Bumblebee, right? At least he'll look like that. Nope, not even close. Not even close. And when that figure came out, and it was the mainline Rise of the Beast figure, not even the studio series. I don't think they came out with one. I'm not sure, but anyway, not even just that. When they showed him for the very first time, and everyone saw that up close image of him having those big, thick bifocals on, and had those suspenders, the Fred Sanford 2.0s on, I knew it was over. It was up from the get-go. It was over with. I mean, why did they have to, Hasbro, why did you have to do my boy like this? Why did you have to do this? Why did you have to take him from looking like Wheeljack in Bumblebee to looking like Kevin from SpongeBob? What were you thinking? What were you thinking? You know what I'm saying? Like, now I'm sitting back like, bro, what's next? Like, what's next? Like, you know, you shafted Q in this movie. You kind of did do Q dirty in Dark of the Moon, not gonna lie. But still, that's neither here nor there. You completely eviscerate his design from Bumblebee. But you know what? I'm not even gonna blame Hasbro for this, because it's not Hasbro. I mean, granted, Hasbro did say he was becoming too much of a tough guy and we needed him to be more smarter than, which I don't get that, but okay. But I don't even think it's that. You want to know who the real culprit of this all is? Stephen Capel and his designing team. Because at the end of the day, you know, even if that is true that they wanted him to be smarter, my thing is, you know, his personality. They want his personality to be more smarter. You didn't have to change his entire look. And I get it. And listen, I'm far from a G1er, alright? You know what I'm saying? I ain't part of that community. You know what I'm saying? I'm all for newness when it comes to the Transformers, you know, franchise. I'm all for newness. But really, this you really out of all the design choices. And listen, if it was a different character altogether, if his name was like, I don't know, Fix It, I've heard that, or Gizmo, I've even heard that before. Heck, if his real name was Pablo, a new Transformer named Pablo, I wouldn't have minded it. I was like, okay, you know, it's cool. It's cool. I wouldn't have minded it. You know, I could have grown to probably appreciate it even more. But no. We know the real reason why you did this, and it's something I mentioned earlier. He was there to tell a woke joke. That's the whole purpose. And you know what joke I'm talking about. You see it when him and Noah, yeah, you see it. That's the whole point of him being in the film. He doesn't really do much after that. I mean, he kicks a Terracon in the face, and that's it. Like, he kicks a Terracon soldier in the face. Apparently him and RC were supposed to have some kind of relationship, which I was actually interested to see what they were going to do with that. It's non-existent. It doesn't happen. It's just nothing. You know, they just teased us again. And what else? You know, he was just kind of annoying. You know, he was just kind of annoying. His voice kind of sounded weird. He just, you know, like whenever you know, he completely like plagiarized Rat Trap's line. I mean, his existence alone, just the only thing I thought about whenever I heard him speak, I was just thinking in the back of my mind, I was hoping he got that Q from Dark of the Moon treatment. I was just hoping that he got blasted by Barricade. I wish he traded places with Q. I really did. oh crap, my bad. But anyway, back on topic. But yeah, in all seriousness, I know what people are going to say. Zach, how can you slander Pablo but defend Q? Again, it's like I said, Q he's different from Wheeljack because they don't actually call him Wheeljack. He's Q. I think they're two different, they're like two different entities. You know what I'm saying? And plus, Q has Wheeljack-like characteristics, as I was saying before, as I stated before. Pablo doesn't have said characteristics like that. He has one scene where he's flickering with his glasses and he sounds a little smarter. Okay, cool, but I'm talking about, you know, him making gadgets and him doing, you know, Wheeljack like stuff. You know, even being a warrior on the battlefield, he didn't even sound like a warrior. Like, you know what I mean? He didn't sound like, you know, he didn't really sound like he wanted to be the, you know, it didn't sound, you know, Wheeljack like, you know. And Oh, but he made the little thing that Noah used in the movie. Well, there's no evidence to prove that, you know. So we're just going off of, you know. And besides, Mirage even said it came from him, and so, you know, yeah. So, in all honesty, to make a long story short, they completely did my guy dirty. You know what I'm saying? But this ain't new. You know, they've been doing some characters dirty for years now. You know what I'm saying? Look at Cliffjumper. He gets killed in every other show and movie he's ever put in now. You know, they use him as a punching bag, which I don't know why, but it's just famous now. You know, Jazz, he's been absent from the mainstream ever since '07. They just, you know, I think he might be in the Transformers 1 movie, but I don't. Yeah, but anyway, that's all I gotta say. I don't want to keep rambling on. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe to my guy, Teen Movie Production 2. You know what I'm saying? AKA Hot Link Studios. Subscribe to my boy. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe to myself as well, Zack's World Productions. And yeah, I'm out, bruh.
So now, since you've heard Zack's opinions, I'm just gonna say I did not expect all that, because we were basically talking about the same points, which did surprise me, because I didn't tell him to say the same things I did on my script. So hey, smart minds think alike. We're right. But now it's time to talk about what I would do to rewrite Wheeljack, which is have the intelligence of Q and the body of Bumblebee movie Wheeljack, with some parts of the van in his robot mode from Pablo, and then have the van mode, but with the same brown color scheme with a little bit of red and white on it, red, white, and green, which I mean. So with that, Wheeljack's character, or main character moments, will be the Autobots going to Peru and finding him. And what do they find him doing? He's been stealing human cars and making them into auto troopers. Yeah, he is making an army of auto troopers, at least 30 of them that are active. And Prime is like, what are you doing? Which it will have like a fun comedy moment of like Wheeljack brushing it off and like, alright, who needs to get repaired and whatever. And then he introduces the Autobots to the Omnibots. Yeah, Wheeljack made the Omnibots in this universe, which they've never been used in the movies, so this is a nice way to including very obscure characters. So Wheeljack basically uses the Matrix and hooks up to a machine that is meant to repair Bumblebee, but it inadvertently gives life to all 30 of the Auto Troopers and the Omnibots. And another funny scene of Prime like, I could have just used the Matrix this entire time, and Wheeljack's like, yep. And so then the same events kind of play out into the final battle, where Wheeljack is still with Stratosphere, while the Auto Troopers and the Omnibots are on the battlefield. And with that, it gives the Autobots better odds of defeating the Terracons, because just having like 4 Autobots and like 3 Maximals, that's not really gonna do a lot. But having like over 30 troops on the battlefield, that is great odds against a small army of Terracons. So Wheeljack will help Bumblebee with some upgrades with his weapon systems. It makes him more powerful to shoot things better, I guess. I haven't written or rewritten Bumblebee yet, so this is early draft of the rewrite of Rise of the Beast I will be doing later this year. So Wheeljack will basically watch Bumblebee jump out of Stratosphere, and Wheeljack will get a mounted gun ready and just keep firing at Scourge until Scourge shoots Stratosphere out of the sky, which will severely damage Stratosphere, and it will kill Stratosphere. Well, actually, never mind. It will not kill Stratosphere. It will incapacitate Stratosphere, and it will incapacitate Wheeljack, almost killing him. So then, yeah, that's how I would have Wheeljack in the not Bumblebee. I will have him in Rise of the Beast. I will also include some little on-the-nose hints of RC and Wheeljack's previous relationships, with an obvious Mirage reference or joke, a sex joke. But it's gonna be a little too on the nose, but it's fine. It's a comedy, it's fine. We already had a lot of those jokes in the movie anyway. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I will include that Wheeljack made Mirage a shifter with the experimental transformation cog. Just easily write it off. Easily explains why Mirage is a shifter in the movie. And in the rewrite, I will also have them have the invisible powers and hologram powers, and that's a result of Wheeljack's genius. So Wheeljack is the MVP of this movie, who carries a lot on his shoulders, and he may or may not survive the movie. And yeah, I'm going to talk about the other troopers now. The other troopers are going to be like a mix of the animated and the Kiss player versions, and a little bit of the Alon games, the War for Cybertron games a little bit. So they will have different designs, gunners, ground troops, whatever variants from the games, basically. But they will have some designs, and by the end of the movie, at least 5 of them survive. And of course the Omnibots still survive, like Overdrive, Camshaft, and the last guy's missing my name, Downshift. There we go. So yeah, Wheeljack is very important in this version. So yeah, he's very more important than he was as Pablo. It's not that hard to write a character that easily and have them act like the character he's meant to be. A mad scientist who creates things that either blow up in his face or just cause more chaos than they're supposed to. Which, yeah. So, thank you.